The Razer Blade is a thin and powerful gaming laptop, but how well does it perform in different games? I've tested 15 different games at all setting levels to find out. Just quickly before we dig into the benchmark results, I'll cover off the main specs in the laptop. There's an Intel i7-8750H 6-core CPU, 16GB of DDR4 memory running at 2666MHz in dual channel, an M.2 NVMe SSD, and Nvidia 1070 Max-Q graphics. Although it's also available with the 1060 Max-Q, so expect lower results with that version. There's also a 1080p 144Hz screen, so we'll see how well these games are able to take advantage of it. All games were tested with gaming mode enabled through the Razer Synapse software, which essentially increases the power limit of the CPU and overclocks the graphics by 100MHz on the core and 300MHz on the memory. Fortnite ran well at any setting level, although medium or low were needed to average around the refresh rate of the panel, but results will of course vary based on what other players are doing in game. Overwatch was tested playing with the bots, and it was running very well. Even at epic settings we're averaging 144fps, with lower settings giving us 1% lows near this level. But again, results here will vary based on what's going on in the game and the map. PUBG was tested using the replay feature. It ran alright at ultra for the most part, but you'll be better off playing at high settings or below. And like the previous game, results will vary based on the map and what other players are doing. CSGO was running well at all settings. The 1% lows dropped down quite a bit in this particular benchmark due to the smokes. Rainbow Six Siege was tested with the built-in benchmark, and even at ultra settings, the average frame rate was very high, with the 1% lows still well above 100fps, so absolutely no problems here at all. I've tested Far Cry 5 with the built-in benchmark, and the results are pretty good, even at ultra settings. Assassin's Creed Origins was also tested with the built-in benchmark, and again playable at all setting levels. Dota 2 was tested using a fairly intensive replay, so this should be a worst case scenario. Realistically, you'll probably get better results than this while actually playing, and even in this intensive test, the averages are pretty decent. Testing Battlefield 1 in the first campaign mission read well for me even at ultra settings. The 1% lows dropped down a bit, although I didn't personally really notice any dips while playing. Rise of the Tomb Raider was tested with the built-in benchmark, and the results here are quite good, really high frame rates at the lower setting levels and more than playable with the higher ones. Ghost Recon is a fairly resource-intensive game and was tested with the built-in benchmark. Despite our nice specs, even ultra settings still don't go too well, but pretty good results at lower settings. Watch Dogs 2 was also a little demanding, but doesn't need a high frame rate to play in my opinion, and ran well at ultra settings with not much variance between ultra, very high, and high settings. The Witcher 3 played well even at ultra settings, and again I don't really think it needs a high frame rate, but we can increase it quite a bit by lowering the settings more. Shadow of War was tested with the built-in benchmark, and even at ultra settings this game was averaging above 60fps. Ashes of the Singularity was also tested with the built-in benchmark, and these results are pretty good for this game, at least from a laptop. I haven't yet tested undervolting or manual overclocking, as this will vary between laptops based on the hardware, but I'll cover those in the full review video along with detailed temperature testing. This is just how the laptop performs out of the box in games with the gaming mode enabled, which is probably how most people will end up using it. So, how do you guys think the Razer Blade 2018 gaming laptop did in these games? As expected, with these specs it's going pretty well, easily able to run basically anything we can throw at it, even at high settings. Let me know what you guys thought down in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe for the full review of the Razer Blade 2018 gaming laptop, as well as future tech videos like this one.